Hi there, it's Sharon Hess, and I'm here with Cyn Harvey, and she is the founder slash creator of Insightful Interiors International. Cyn does this really fabulous thing where she looks at everything, not feng shui, but she looks at it energetically to help you create the space that creates the feeling and the environment that you want. So anyway, which, it's funny, I was thinking this morning, because there's so many of us stuck at home, and I'm not stuck at home, I work from home anyway, so it's not so hard for me. But anyway, so I hope that you have an interior that you love, and if not, send a call, check her out. Maybe she could just give you some tips and do some kind of quick Zoom session with you, right? So what I'm doing is I'm asking people what is showing up for you and how you're coping with it. And this is so that we can help other people embrace the change that's going on so rapidly in our world right now. Thank you for joining me, Cyn.
Hi, Sharon. Thanks for inviting me. This is
You're
fun.
welcome. So tell me, what is the biggest thing that's been showing up for you that you see right now?
So, in line with what I do, because I deal with energy and I'm very sensitive to energy and how it's, how it shows up, how it's flowing. One of the things that's been tough for me is because there's a lot of stress and, focus on something really specific. When I'm going out in public, it can be a little brutal because I start getting those feelings and sensations and picking up on them from other people. And one of the things that I learned early on that I know is that the moment you acknowledge it as, what, even if it's just an internal in your mind, not out loud, but in your mind's eye, what is it that I'm feeling? I'm feeling, anxious. What is that? It just, the mere moment of acknowledging it in that way, it's yours. So, and it may not be, you may just be picking up.
Right. So don't own something that's not yours, but you taught me a really good question to ask.
Yeah. And that is, who does this belong to? It's been a little intense, and that's one of my modalities is access consciousness and bars, and that's a big one. It's a big fundamental one with them, is asking that question, who does this belong to? And then once you getting a sense of it feeling light or heavy, you kind of have an idea of what it is, whether it's yours or not. And then you can just, there's a couple different directions you can go with that. However, because it's been really, I'm kind of bombarded with these emotions, I finally got to the point where I'm just skipping the whole formalities of it and just kind of continually return to sender, just knowing, yeah, that's not mine. I know that's not mine, because I'm not. Right. When I'm at home, I'm feeling relaxed. Like you, I'm used to working from home, so I'm home a lot, and it's kind of my nurturing space that I recharge in, so it always feels good. And so when I'm at home, I'm feeling good and centered and grounded, and then I go out and these things start coming up, and I'm like, what? Where is that coming from? Like, I didn't have a conversation, right. And I didn't hear anything. Just all of a sudden I get this sensation that comes up. And so I've resorted to just, return to sender with consciousness.
So that's a good thing. A lot of people watching this may not even realize and recognize that they are empathic. And what being an empath means is that you feel energies and emotions from, it could be from where you are, the person sitting next to you, someone else thinking about you, right? And so if you are feeling things that are out of your norm, of course, there's going to be things out of the norm while the whole world's changing. However, you know yourself well enough to know how you normally react to things. What do you think about that?
Yeah, we're just empathic creatures, period. And then there's different degrees to which people have a sensitivity to it, right? Just like animals, they're empathic creatures. They know, they feel things. They function on a completely different, vibratory language that they just intuitively come into the world with, but then they don't modify it. We intuitively I feel like, come into the world with it, and then we modify it and start learning
Right.
different ways of functioning and interacting and communicating. I feel like our first language is not English, Spanish, French, Norwegian, whatever languages we have, all the many languages that we have in the world. Our first language is energy, and that's
Right.
how we function.
Right.
So yeah,
Everything in the world is made up of energy. So absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, and I like to use, when I'm talking to people, the analogy of that, because everybody has experienced this, where you walked into a room where somebody, say a couple or just somebody were fighting, and you didn't even have to know that they were fighting or arguing or at some sort of distress with each other. You open that door and it's like, ugh,
Oh.
this
Yeah.
does not feel good. You know what I mean? When you walk into that space, that's it. That's exactly what it is. And so when you're taking things on, that's what happens. When you're walking about and all of a sudden you randomly get that little like twist in your stomach, in your gut, or that some people refer to as like intuition. That it is what it is, but you're sensing something that you're feeling on a vibratory level that you're
That's a
picking
hard
up.
word to say, isn't it?
What? Yeah, it is.
Vibratory. Doesn't come out easy. We don't use that in everyday language, right? So,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
We're like in tune a lot. We do that. So what I was going to say though is, so basically, the biggest challenge that you're finding when you go out and about is it's chaotic energy, is what I'll call it. Okay. Yeah. And so what you can tell the viewers is, if you feel out of sorts, you might feel stressed, anxious, sad, depressed, any of those things, doubtful, any of those things, then the best thing to do is pay attention. And if you want to, I'm just, correct me if I'm wrong here, but what you're saying then is, then if you want to, then say, who does this belong to? So that you should automatically know it doesn't belong to you. If it does belong to you, then you want to dig a little deeper. But for this, sake of this video, then just say return to sender. In other words, don't take that energy onto yourself. Yeah. Would that be correct?
Yeah. That is, and there's a longer version of that. However, that's just the simplest thing to do, and I alternate that with, thank you for the information, and return to sender with consciousness. Because right. Sometimes you're picking up on it for a reason, because it's you're
okay. So within our own environment, since you use all of these skills and within a beautiful way, is there anything that comes to you automatically within our environment while we're going through this chaotic energy? If we're finding it within our own environment, is there anything there that we need to specifically look at?
You mean at home, like when you're at home? Okay.
Yeah, especially people who are working from home, who never had to work from home before,
Yeah. And I think it's a good exercise in learning how to start within and then go without, instead of reacting from what's out there and then going in to resolve it. One of the things that I remind myself, when I'm at home, if anything comes up that I just in general, right, mental stuff, one of the things that I do is I instantly remind myself there's nothing more important than how I feel, because that's where it starts.
Right. So what about in our physical environment though? Because you help people put together spaces that create the energetic environment that they want. I know for myself, I just make sure everything in my office is stuff I love.
Yeah, that's one good thing. And, a lot of people talk about this, but having it clear, like clutter free, which kind of is a feng shui thing. But so I would pick someplace that you normally go, or you gravitate to, that you love, and you go there because you love the way it feels, whether it's like staying in a certain hotel room that you've been in before, or a restaurant that you go to, or, what I mean, whatever it is, a spa that you go to, whatever it is that feels nurturing to you, and just kind of take a little snapshot of, that feels so good to me when I go there. And and just kind of question why. What is it? What about it? Is it that it feels good? Is it the color? Is it the, you know, aesthetics? Is it the way they have things organized? Is it, you know, some of the things they have out? Maybe they have like really pretty gems or stones or
Right,
something.
because it could be minimal or it could have a lot of stuff, you know. Different people
Right.
have feelings that come from different environments.
Yeah. And you can start, you know, you can start just making a subtle connection as to, okay, let's add some of those things that I first notice or that I'm drawn to when I walk into there. I'm like, oh man, this is beautiful. You're like, if you walk into a spa or hotel and you're like, wow, this is gorgeous. Is it because it's so clean? Is it because of the colors that they use? What's the first thing that comes
Could even
to
be a
mind?
scent, right? It could even be like if you walk into a spa and you love that eucalyptus smell, right?
Yeah. 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 So
Yeah.
it could be exactly.
All right, my love. Well, I'm running out of time, but thank you so much for sharing your brilliant wisdom with everyone. And I'll put her website down below the video wherever I post it, but tell them how to get in touch with you.
Okay, it's at insightfulinteriors.com.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Cyn. Bye for now.
Bye.